What is the best training split? Well, that depends on how many days a week you are training and how experienced you are. Today, we're going to cover how to set up your workouts if you're an athlete doing strength and conditioning training twice a week. We must be very particular with the way that we choose exercises with this limited amount of training time. The major movement patterns that athletes should focus on are sprinting/jumping, squatting, hinging, horizontal pressing, vertical pressing, and then horizontal and vertical pulling. As an athlete, training twice a week, you really shouldn't be doing much outside of these main movement patterns, unless you're dealing with a specific injury or issue. These in combination basically hit every muscle group in the body. They are your best bang for your buck exercises, and with only 2 days dedicated to strength and conditioning training, you need the highest quality exercises. If I'm working with a beginner, someone who has not yet mastered the technical aspects of these basic lifts, the program is very simple. We're going to do a full body workout, hitting all 6 of the major movement patterns. I typically do something like this on the screen. This is done both days of the week. You might be thinking that it's insane to do all of these exercises in one session. You have to remember, this is for beginners. They aren't lifting maximally, they are focusing on mastering the technique, and that requires practice. Plus, they typically aren't strong enough or muscular enough to really tax themselves on these lifts. That's even more true if they are young. A 105-pound 12-year-old squatting 85 pounds for a set of 5 isn't taxing. We're not talking about elite athletes trying to fit all these big exercises in one session. Don't rush learning the technique. However, once the technique is mastered, I would suggest to start doing some sprinting and increase the intensity of these main movements. This sets up more sprint work and more recovery with the lower body exercises. Also notice the use of max sets. I like this approach with intermediate lifters because it gives them some serious intensity to drive adaptation, along with a clear goal to progress. Usually, I'll go if they get 3 or more reps on their max set than their base rep range, then we'll add weight. So if they have 3 sets of 5 and then a 4th max set and they get 8 or more, we'll add 5 pounds. Technique though is still primary, and the set should stop if that breaks down. Most athletes can make progress for quite a while using this approach. The second set of upper body lifts at the end of the session can be done with a little less intensity as well, 85 to 90% of their max set day, just to allow for more technical focus. Now for more advanced athletes, which for the purpose of this are athletes that have a considerable amount of strength and muscle mass, along with great technique on their exercises, we're going to be changing things up a little. Typically, this would be an athlete that normally lifts more than twice a week, as it's pretty hard to become advanced only training 2 times per week, but is lowering their number of sessions due to being in season or some other reason that maintenance is the focus. You can see the use of a similar structure to the intermediate program, except with the possibility, depending on how the athlete recovers, only doing 1 pressing and pulling exercise each day. This may also come with increased rest periods if the athlete is pretty strong. If they are in season, you may want to limit the max sets, especially on the big lower body lifts like squats and deadlifts. That may just cause too much fatigue to recover from for games. This is going to depend on the individual athlete and how much the sport itself beats them up. A few small details can be adjusted based on need. You don't have to do any specific exercise, but focus on a major movement within that category. It should be a stable, compound movement that large amounts of force can be generated on. Squats could be a back squat, front squat, box squat, or even a Bulgarian split squat. Bench press, dumbbell bench press, incline bench press are all great options for horizontal pushing. I would say that with this few days of lifting though, find something the athlete can do fairly well and just get them good at it. You don't need to be switching exercises all the time either, or trying to learn new things. If you start with split squats, get good and push them. After a while, of course, you can try something new, but don't just rotate between back squat, split squat, front squat, etc. every few weeks. The athlete isn't training enough for the lifts to become stale and stop working that quickly. The same could be said for changing rep ranges. Now, exactly what you do is going to depend on many factors, but in general, they won't need to change exercises or rep ranges all that often. There will of course be some nuances that can't be covered fully in this video on adjusting for different sports, different individuals, or around specific injuries and other issues. As we continue through our Creating a Training Program series, we will cover that. This video is to generally set up a training structure that at least most junior high and high school athletes can use. Once you grasp the basics of program design and what generally works best, you can start adapting things. Just remember, If you are working with inexperienced athletes, especially at the junior high and high school level, they don't need anything fancy. They need to get good at a few major movements, build a little muscle, get generally stronger, and master their sporting technique. There is no such thing as a specific program for a 13-year-old who has never lifted and with minimal mastery over their sport. Our Creating a Program series will go through all manner of programming, from setting up the individual workout, the week, adjustments for different sports and individuals, and how to progress and adapt over an athlete's career. Like this video and subscribe to the Immortal Power channel to improve your knowledge of programming, exercise technique, and all manner of sports performance.